Starting a business is hard, so don't make it harder by repeating these 5 mistakes that we made that nearly cost us our success in the very beginning. So we're going to talk about how we turn these challenges into lessons, and it helped us scale a 7-figure cleaning business without cleaning a single home. You guys are new here. We are the Heart Zogs. My name is Anthony.
And I'm Jhanilka, and thank you for returning for another episode of More Than a Side Hustle podcast. As he said, we're going to be talking about 5 mistakes that you shouldn't make when starting a cleaning business.
Yeah, so before we get to that, we want to just thank you guys for being here. If you are brand new, we promise, as you're going through, we're talking about 5 costly mistakes that we made starting our cleaning business, and more importantly, how you can avoid them as well. But then also, we're going to give you a lot of game, a lot of insights on how we scaled our business to over 7 figures. And also, you can use these same frameworks and insights to scale multiple businesses across 6 and 7 figures, as we have done as well outside of our jobs. But before we get there, I was talking to my barber, quick conversation, and we were talking about businesses, and we were talking about how hard it is to start a business. And I asked him what was one of the most challenging things about a business, and he said the people.
Yes.
And I was like, even as a barber, he's like, the people, and I was like, yeah.
What else did he say? Just that's it.
So no, and I asked him. I don't want to get into too much, it's personal,
okay.
but I just think about any business. I was like, the next business we start, how can we do one without people? It has to be AI, it has to be automations, have to be technology. It might have to be robots, but people. No matter what business you start, people are going to be one of the most pressing things that you guys could deal with in any way, shape, or form.
Service-based businesses. I mean, which almost every business deals with people, but specifically service-based business. You see. People are going to people. You see the range of emotions, attitudes, moods, all of the things. So if you're one like, I can't handle that, maybe don't get into a service-based business or have someone else do the people-facing part for you.
Yeah, I was talking to a cleaning business owner, and she was like, yeah, I think I'm doing well, but the hardest part is hiring and people. And I was like,
yeah, we mentioned that from the very beginning. The hardest part of the business is hiring good people.
And we'll talk about some of the mistakes we made in regards to just hiring and just people in general so that you guys can learn from. You want to dive in?
Yep. The first thing we're going to start with is delegation. But I think that
before we get there, I want to give people some background.
Oh, okay.
So if you guys don't know, we started an online cleaning business back in 2017. You may be asking, what's an online cleaning business? Essentially, you've seen the word remote cleaning business around a lot. And essentially, we delegate the work out to team members, and they go out and fulfill the jobs for us. So if you think about the Ubers, you think about the Lyfts, you think about the Airbnbs, you think about DoorDash, all these companies have the same exact business model. Uber doesn't own any cars. Airbnb doesn't own any hotels. DoorDash doesn't even own a single restaurant. Essentially, what they do is they connect you with people who are already doing the work. So let's say you already have a car or you're already cleaning. We connect you with people who are already cleaning. So that's how we've been running our cleaning business for the last 7 years. And we've scaled it to over a couple $1 million, and we've done over 10,000 jobs to give you some context. So you're listening to people who have done this over the course of almost a decade, but then also have made a few $1 million, and also we've done it over 10,000 times. And they say that you should do a task at least 10,000 times to have a mastery of it. So I can say
10,000 is a lot.
10,000. Is it 10,000 hours?
Huh?
It might be 10,000 hours.
I'm about to say 10,000 times. I don't even know if I worked out 10,000 times, and I feel like
I think it's 10,000 hours. You worked out over 10,000 hours, maybe.
Not times, but maybe hours.
Maybe hours.
When I was speaking about delegation, the first thing is delegation, and when I was speaking about that, I wanted to bring to the point of, yes, we delegate the jobs out when it comes to the cleaning business, as we work with contractors and we don't work with employees. So that's the delegation of that, but more about the delegation of the back end. And I want to say that the cleaning business was our first business ever. So starting out, it took us a long time to delegate. And you may be somebody that you're just starting out and you don't want to delegate anything out because you want to keep it all to yourself. So managing the client, scheduling, marketing, all these things, you are like, I can do it. I can figure it out, which is totally fine. I get it. Just starting out, you may not have that much revenue coming in and you're wanting to take it all, handle all of it. But it also can stop your growth to be handling everything. One, you don't know everything. So if this is your first business, the way it was ours, you absolutely do not know everything. You may speak to people, but at the same time, there are people that can do things better than you. And at the end of the day, that ends up bringing you even more revenue in. For example, at one point we were taking all the phone calls. totally fine to take all your phone calls. But it was stunting our growth because we started to lose calls. And then we also started to think, well, nobody's going to close these leads as quickly as we will, or as good as we will. Nobody's going to get the jobs as good as we will. Got a VA in place eventually, and they started killing it. We couldn't pick up all those calls, so we were already losing money in that way. So delegation in different parts of the business is necessary to grow, I would say. But I know that for us starting out, it's a hard concept to want to give up. One, money-wise, and two, you just feel like you can do it better, which you may, but it still may be stopping you from growing and doing better and getting more money in your business.
Yeah, one of the things about, and so one of the questions I'm going to ask is, well, how can I delegate if I'm brand new and I have no money coming in? Mm-hmm. So I would give everyone, if we can make this actionable, like a task list. So you could write down every single task you do in your business, like literally every single task you do in your business. And I'm literally reading this book called Buy Back Your Time, and you guys can actually take this exercise. It's over here. It's not that. That's not the book. It's over here.
There's another one, though.
That's not the book.
Yeah, but I was going to show another one.
Oh, okay. So you could take every single task that you're doing. So right now I'm doing an audit of my time. And column number 1 is going to be the amount of time it takes you. Column number 2 is going to be the task. And column number 3 is going to be the dollar value that you assign to that task. So let's say picking up the phones. Like that's sales. So column number 1, like you're going to say 12 to 12:30 sales calls or 12 to 1 sales calls. And the dollar value is going to be probably the highest amount of value that you could create in a business is sales calls. So that's going to be $4 signs. And let's say you're taking out the trash or answering emails. That might be $1 sign. So you're going to assign every single part of your day and a dollar value amounted to it. And you're also going to decide, is this a task that gives me joy or do I absolutely hate this task? So if it's a $1 sign and it's red, meaning you hate it, you're going to start delegating those tasks. So you can go through I'm literally going through this exercise myself. So you could use this framework to kind of go through and see the things that you need to delegate, but start by creating a list of all the tasks you have day to day in your business so that you can start to see what can be outsourced to people.
And I think too many times we tend to outsource when we reach our breaking point. So, for example, that time when I remember it was Valentine's Day of some year. Let's say, I want to say 2020 maybe.
No, I think the trip we went on was the breaking point.
Which one?
When I don't know what trip we were on, but you were answering a client call.
Houston for my birthday? My 20th?
We wasn't in Houston. We were in somewhere tropical.
Mexico.
No, it wasn't Mexico. I remember overseeing water. I could pull up the picture.
Why wasn't it Mexico?
I could pull up the picture. It might have been Mexico, but anyway, no, it wasn't Mexico because we had poor reception. Essentially, we were somewhere tropical enjoying our trip, and what happened is that a client had an issue, and we decided that we were going to
fix it. The one that I was thinking about was it was Valentine's Day of 2020, and we had a client issue that was ongoing, and it spilled into us not doing anything or wanting to go out at all. And after we're like, we have to go out. It's Valentine's Day. We don't want to stay in this house. But more than likely, a lot of times we don't get the help or delegate until it's a breaking point, and then you're like rushing to get, to delegate it out versus doing it ahead of the time. Mm-hmm. When you have time to kind of make your SOPs or think about how you do things. So that's another thing. Try to get ahead of that. If you see calls are starting to rev up, don't wait to the point that you absolutely can't take calls and you just want to pour it on someone, because then that becomes poor training, that becomes frustration, all of those things. So I think that's important as well. Whenever you are getting to that point, try to delegate prior to the point of when you absolutely need it.
And that happened with 2 of our students as well. They were on vacation just like us. And before they went on vacation...
they were like on a catamaran.
They was on a catamaran, but they was on vacation. It was like, we're trying to do these customer service issues while we're on this catamaran. Service is rocky. And now, as soon as we get back, it's like, we got to hire. We got to get somebody in. We got to rush the training process. It's like, whoa, slow down there.
On vacation, getting calls, you're like, ma'am, I don't care what cleaning you just had. That's what you're thinking. You're not going to say that.
So
that's how it feels.
We want you guys to delegate, at least think about delegation of those tasks earlier, sooner than later, even if you don't have the money yet, so that you realize you will make more money off the things you delegate, because now you can spend more time doing the things that actually bring you money.
And I also think the other thing is the thought of VAs and AI and the world that we live in now. A lot of people don't even know how much it costs. They're like, I can't afford a VA, right? Mm-hmm. You may have come into this business with a substantial amount of money ready to invest into your business and things like that. You may have the money for a VA. You're just assuming it's way too expensive. If you're going out of the country, it's really not that pricey. Maybe you just have somebody part-time. It doesn't have to be full-time. Mm-hmm. So try to think that way. Think of it in that way, that everything, you may be able to afford it and you don't even know it. You're just assuming that you can, which I've seen a lot of times with students when we talk about, they're like, oh, didn't think about that. Didn't even think about doing part-time. Didn't, all of these things. And that's something else to consider.
Yep.
So that was number one, delegation. Now that we've had multiple businesses, that we've been in business going on 8 years, that's a no-brainer for us. Like, if somebody else could do it, take it.
Right.
We don't need to do it all. If it makes sense, obviously, we don't need to do it all. If they're expert at what it is, it's going to bring us more money, it's going to bring us more time, then go ahead. So that's the first thing.
When you think about delegation, think about you're using your time now to do more valuable things in your business, and you can offset some of those less monetary tasks earlier on. So we're going to talk about number 2. It's going to be pricing too low in the beginning. So underpricing your services impact your revenue and confidence. Where do you want to go with that one?
So pricing is, I would say, contractors and then pricing is like the 2 hot topics in our community almost all the time when I think about that. But
the fear of charging too much.
Too much.
And how it holds you back.
Charging too much. You think you're charging too much, but you're actually charging too low. And I think one thing that you've said in the past is, if you don't have any room on your books, or if you're like, whatever it is, whatever you do, you're probably charging too low, because everybody has access to you. Everybody can book with you. And I know you may be like, well, I want that, but then you're pushing people out that you may not be able to get. So pricing too low, I think people are just afraid of the whole pricing thing in general. It seems like maybe, oh, I wouldn't pay for this, so this seems too high. Or, I've never known anybody to do this, so I don't know if I should price this way. And you tend to go lower just to get the customer. But you have to learn it sometimes on your own. Just because you lower the price, that can mean a whole different type of clientele and different demographic that you bring in. So being open to that, just knowing that there's a different clientele from a steakhouse than McDonald's, right? It just is. The way I show up is differently, just a whole different clientele.
I can wear a tuxedo to McDonald's.
You can do what you want. It's a different clientele. Let's be clear. Rolling in there, then rolling into a steakhouse. So it's the same thing in that way. So we tend to, as new business, I'm speaking of like a new business owner, we tend to kind of price lower because we're scared. But price it, test it out, and then see. Right? And you have to cover your expenses. So you scared about everybody else. What about the money that you need to make? That's just as important. Like, this is a business at the end of the day. You need to make some money. So pricing yourself too low, even though it feels like what I'm getting more people, sometimes it's not the best. It kind of goes back to what we talk about, like, all money isn't good money. It goes back to that. And I think that people have to learn that for some reason. We try to tell you guys, but you have to feel it and be like, yeah, I went down $60 for this customer. We did all these things. We went above and beyond, and she still left us a bad review because the door was left open. I don't know.
We'll talk about that. But
one. Just an example of how things kind of transpire when you go lower.
And then if you start your business, we always tell people to do market research. So if you go through your competitors in your area, no matter what business you start, you find out what they're charging. And you may see a range of people. You may see people charging 3, 4, 5 times what you're charging. You may see people charging 3, 4, 5 times less. If you find out what the average is, you can see, okay, here's what the average market rate is going in my area. You could start there and then decide, am I going to go higher than that? Am I going to go lower than that? And that gives you a good range. If the average is, let's say, $250, like, all right, I'm right where I need to be because that's where our competitors are charging. And then from there, you could also go and see what they're doing well, things they're not doing well. How can I improve on? Like, for example, I just got a message on one of our ads said, I called a bunch of cleaning companies in my area and nobody picked up the phone. Like, why is that? And I'm telling you, these are ways that you could beat the competition from day one. So if your prices are a little bit higher, and we're going to talk about a little bit of automation and stuff like that, but if your prices are a little bit higher, you can now justify, we got automations, we got systems, we got team members in place, we got all these things that we're doing to make our customer experience better. You can now justify a higher price target for your services. And then even if we talk about, if you guys don't know, we have a platform, a program called Cleaning Business University, where we teach you how to do these things inside of your cleaning business. You can click the link anywhere around this page. But even inside of that program, we raised the prices over time because we're giving a all-around better experience. Now we got a full-time operations manager. We got team members that answer clients' messages. We got customer service reps. We got all these things happening that allows us to give our clients a better experience.
And that's the same thing just with the cleaning business. When you reach to a point where you're ready to raise your prices, and you may have some clients that's been on with you for a while. I mean, you've all been part of people raising their prices. You go to service-based places, your nails, your hair, your bar, whatever. They raise their prices almost yearly or whatever, and they have an explanation behind it. You either stick with it or you don't, right? So just kind of letting your clients know the value behind the reason you're raising your prices. I background check my people. Like, we have this guarantee. There's so many things, and people are willing to listen and flow with it most of the times. But a lot of times, us as business owners, we're too afraid to ask for it, or we're too afraid to do it. But don't be, okay? Raise that price, and you'll find your sweet spot, I would say. Sometimes you may have to go down a little bit, but don't start so low, because then it's harder to raise your price, right? It's hard to tell somebody, yeah, it's going to be $50 extra now. Huh?
Yeah.
What? Like, that's a little harder than you starting somewhere and maybe having to reduce by $10, $15. So
if you think about Tesla, their business model was they had the highest end, electric cars. Mm-hmm. And it was $150,000. And then they worked their way back all the way down to $30,000. Really? And those went absolutely crazy, right? Because you wanted that same experience from that higher end car in a more affordable model. And if you think about Vera Wang has wedding dresses, right? Mm-hmm. And Vera Wang is very high end. But now
she also has low end ones.
Yeah, she didn't start from the low end and work her way up.
Yeah.
If you think about all the business models that work like that, they usually start at the higher end, right? They want the highest end clients, and they work their way back with different targets and demographics. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you guys can use that same bit. You can use the Tesla business model today in your business. Start at the highest end and work your way back. You want to be the Model S, whatever it was to start. And then now they got the Model.
The little baby one.
The little baby Tesla, right? So you can have the little baby Tesla.
Literally when I see him.
I don't want the little baby Tesla. But listen, if you can't, everybody can't get the Model X. Some people got to get the little baby Tesla, so think about it that way, guys.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's a good one. That needs to be a clip.
So the first two we just spoke about in regards to mistakes that we've made in the cleaning business. One was not delegating quick enough, and then number two was, how did I forget already, pricing too low. The third one now is not focusing on reviews. And that's social proof. That's such a simple thing, but it doesn't happen. And the first thing I try to tell our students, or just try to tell yourself, is when you are looking to buy something, go somewhere, the first thing you do is look at the reviews. That's the first thing you do. If it's on Yelp or Google, if you're going somewhere, a restaurant, whatever. TripAdvisor, any of these places. Or if you're buying something from any of these platforms, you look at the reviews that they've given the clothing or the bags that people have written. Like, you always look at reviews. So it is just as important for your business to make sure that you are getting reviews and focusing on getting these reviews. We always preach that we call every single client after every single cleaning. Maybe not our reoccurrings, not so frequently, but we still call them, just not every single reoccurring. And we have students that are like, oh, well, I didn't just call them because I'm like, okay, you're just starting out. You have 20 clients. You have the time to call them. You have the time to focus and find out how your services is doing. How does the client feel about booking online? How does the client feel about the emails, about you guys coming on time, about the products you're using, I don't know, the clean, all of these things. You can do market research by just speaking to the clients. And you're not doing it. I'm talking to you. I know you're not doing it. You're not calling every client to get the review. You need to call to get a review and ask for the review. Because that's another thing I know people get like, oh, well, should I ask for it? Absolutely.
Ask for what you want.
Absolutely. We went to St. Martin for our cousin's birthday, and after we did, what was it, ATV? I don't remember what we did. We did something. We came back to the store. They're like, we'll give you a shot and a T-shirt if you write us a review right now. A shot and a T-shirt. On TripAdvisor.
A shot, and they said, let's break that down a little bit. They said they will give you a shot and a T-shirt if you leave us a review on TripAdvisor. But they didn't just say leave us a review on TripAdvisor. They said leave us a review now
in the store.
TripAdvisor, in the store.
Right now.
So you are losing out on customers who are extremely satisfied with your services by not getting that review in real time because you are afraid of them saying no. Or not even, they won't even say no. They say, I'll get back to you, or I'll do it later. Now, what incentives can we provide the client? You might lose a little money on the front end, but you're like, I could provide an incentive to this client to just get this done now. It takes less than 5 minutes to do so. And it doesn't even break a sweat for them to do it, but we have to put a little bit of pressure. And we didn't do this in the beginning as well. This is why these are mistakes that we made as well. Now we got over 500, plus reviews, but in the beginning we weren't pressing these things. Even though if we would call them, we would text them, all right, then leave us a review, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Now you want to, let's say after every single cleaning, you are now calling the client. You're getting them on the phone. You were asking them to leave a review if they were extremely satisfied. Hey, if you're able to do this today, we are able to do X, Y, and Z. We're able to give you an incentive for your next cleaning or something like that. Okay, cool. We found that we were able to get more reviews by just asking for more upfront and giving them something in return so that they got something tangible that they could use today, and then so do we. So that gives them more of an incentive to leave it today. So do not take that part lightly.
And when you focus on that, the reviews make you more money. I mean, you're thinking of it as like, oh, well, it's not such a big deal. The reviews make you more money because people go on and see the reviews and they're like, okay, I trust this company enough to give them my money without speaking to someone, whatever it may be. But in the long run, the reviews is important. So just set something up for yourself. Like, how can I get 5 more reviews this month, depending on how many clients you have? Like, what can I do to make sure I get more reviews this month? Whenever month you're listening to this podcast.
So put that in your goal. Put that in your goal sheet.
What can I do to 10% more reviews than I got the previous month or the previous year? Do you know how many reviews you got last year? We do. No, we do.
You do?
Yeah, for our cleaning business.
How much was it?
85.
85.
No. It was 105, which was 20 more from the last year. Was about 85. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, how many reviews did you get? That breaks down to how many. How many bookings did I have? Should I have gotten more? What did I do? Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't respond. I get that. But like, is there other things that can be done to make sure that we do get the review if they are happy with it? All of these things, being intentional. If you're like, well, we're trying and it's not working, maybe you need to try what you're saying. Change up your script. Maybe it's tired. If you tried for 5 months, you're not getting a review. It's something you're saying. Right? So all of those things you need to consider when it comes to reviews. That's a huge focus that I think slips by for people because it doesn't seem as something that would make you money right away, but it's just as important because social proof is everything. No matter whatever you purchase online, which we purchase our world online, you look at the reviews. Amazon, wherever you go, you're looking at the reviews before you do it. So why wouldn't you treat your business the same way and think of how the customer is going to experience your business?
All right. And the next one is, I'll skip this one. We'll put this one last, but since we're talking about getting reviews and we're talking about consistent follow-ups, we'll talk about neglecting automation early on.
Well, speak about what automation even is, because I don't think it wasn't spoken about as much, I feel, back in the day.
Don't worry, I'm going to do a whole episode on automation. But for example, automations are things that you would manually do, like invoicing, scheduling, review, follow-ups, lead management, lead nurture. And the lead nurture sequence is just a lead comes into your business, they don't book with your services. Now they go through emails and text messages, follow-ups, and funnels where you aren't having to manually do that work. So anything that you could think about you were doing manually in your business, that's what an automation would take over. So for example, we were just talking about reviews. So neglecting reviews or neglecting automation earlier on is something that we should have definitely taken advantage of. But AI and automation was not what it is today, where it was 7-8 years ago.
Where it is now.
So let's go back to that review part of things, right? So if you have this ability to do this today, so after a client says they're extremely happy with your services, you call them and text them, and they don't leave you a review, you're like, all right, most of the time we're like, you know what, we're moving on. We appreciate it. Thank you. Maybe we'll get them on the next go round or next thing, right? Most of the time that's not going to happen. So having an automation in place where this client did not leave me a review, now we're going to request it and give them more incentives over the next couple of days so that they could go back and leave that review so that we could be on top of mind when they're ready to book or when they're ready to get their next service or whatever it may be. So those are some things that you use automation for when it comes to review management, reputation management.
And like you said, automation saves you on time. So it saves you on money. It saves you on things that, and you may be like, I don't know where to start. I think it goes back to what you're saying, like making that list
of
things you're doing. And you figure out delegating, does this delegate to a person? Does this delegate to automation? You know what I mean? Does it mean that I can have an automatic email that goes out 3 times a week, versus me writing it, things like that.
And that's a good point too, because when we ask people and I ask them, are you currently emailing and just letting clients know that you exist? And like most of the time they're like, I was like, last time you done it? They're like, 3 months ago. Yeah. And we made that same mistake too. Mm-hmm. We had an email list of thousands of people that we never even reached back out to, like year 1 or year 2. It was like, all right, well, they booked us once. Hopefully they come back.
And I always give that analogy with these big companies.
All of them. Amazon, Uber, Airbnb, Target, Macy's,
Victoria's Secret, Sephora, literally all of them are emailing multiple times. And these are billion-dollar companies emailing multiple times. Target don't text me, but emailing multiple times a week about their newsletter, their ads, oh, you missed it, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're emailing. And you are not emailing at all, and you think that people are going to remember your services. There's no reason for them to. Stay top of mind. You don't have to always ask for something, meaning you don't have to always ask for a sale, but there's something called nurturing. So just sending tips on cleaning or whatever, happy holidays, make sure you book, whatever it may be. Following up with the clients, part of that automations is something that was a huge mistake where you're leaving so much money behind. We are specific in breaking down like, okay, between texts, callbacks, and emails, how much money are we bringing in every month? That's important for us to make sure that we're aware of. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's $15,000 that we brought back in because we decided to reach back out via text, email, or phone call that you are not doing. And you're just like, oh yeah, I got it. Like he said that we did before. So that is a huge opportunity. Following up with clients is a huge opportunity that we missed out on for years, but we ain't missing it now. And we're making sure that you know that if that becomes automated, that becomes manual, it needs to get done regardless.
Absolutely.
Reaching out to clients again.
And if you guys need a tool to do that, you could check out tidytrack.io. Essentially an all-in-one CRM built to transform your cleaning business, streamline your operations, automations, repetitive tasks, and helps you scale your residential cleaning company. This is a software that we use, and actually, we've been using it for quite some time now. We actually own the company.
Okay, well, you had a long pause.
I was going to say, but essentially we created automation because we knew what the challenges that our students had. So if you want to check out tidytrack.io, we'll put the link in the show notes. Mm-hmm. And it helps with all these tasks we're talking about as well, especially the automation. That's why we built it, because we heard the challenges that our students had, because those are the same challenges we had when we first launched our cleaning business. Like, I don't know what email to write. Here's the emails in the sequence. I don't know what text messages to send. Here's the text messages to send. I don't know how to get reviews. Here's how you get reviews. Like, automating these processes and procedures, because they take up too much time trying to figure it out by yourself. And if you're like, hey, I don't want to do any of that, you can use a MailChimp, you can use a Grasshopper, use an Open Phone, you can use an Active Campaign, any of these email and text message softwares, but you need to be utilizing AI in your businesses and automation so that you can streamline those processes that you are doing day in and day out.
But even with those platforms,
so check out tidytrack.io. Don't check out anything else that I said.
Even with those platforms you mentioned, you still got to come up with the email and text. They just provide you the service to email, but you still got to write it, the copy, I should say.
Absolutely.
So where do we? Oh, number 5. So just to recap. Oh, sorry.
Recap. Just go
ahead. Because depending on where you start in.
Nobody's starting in the middle of a podcast episode at the end.
That's fair. So number 5, trying to serve everyone is the last mistake that we've made when it comes to our cleaning business and getting it up and running. Back to that, pricing yourself lower because you want everybody. All money ain't good money. Trying to serve everyone, like, somebody calls in and you're taking off this, and I only want one room, and I don't want the carpet, and I don't want... Sometimes it's okay to say, like, okay, I don't think we're the cleaning service for you because we like to do the full package, or whatever the case may be. Trying to serve everyone in any business, I think, is a mindset of someone that's just starting out, because you want all the money, you're scared to lose the business, you got a client on the phone, you're nervous, you just want to get them in. But you will realize over time that not everyone is for you, and that's totally okay. And that's one of those things, again, that some reason people need to learn versus just listen to us on the podcast when we're telling you this. But for some reason, people need to feel that.
Jhanilka is telling you guys how it is. And I was literally talking to a student, and she said, I know I shouldn't have taken this client in. And
you always know, though.
Whenever you always know.
You always know. Yeah.
Stop trying to service anyone. That's how she started her sentence. She went to this long story, and I was like, everything that you're telling me, they told you on the phone and you knew it was a red flag, and you felt it. You felt it was a red flag, and you continued to move on anyway. So stop trying to serve everyone in your business. Find out what type of clients are your favorite clients to work with. Your ideal clients, where they live at, what do they do, so that you could start to put a client profile together, so that when this type of client comes in, who are we serving? And then your marketing and your targeting could actually be more effective when you know the type of people you're looking for. If you're looking for more elderly people, you might have an elderly person in your ad. If you're looking for moms and pops or busy entrepreneurs, you might have those type of people in your marketing, your ads, your emails, so that you can know how to service those people, because those are your ideal clients.
Yeah.
We were just talking about trying to serve everyone and challenges. We've done that as well, trying to serve everyone, saying yes to people where we knew there were red flags. And more than likely, your red flag clients will let you know they are a red flag.
Okay, did you have anything else to say with that?
So be slow to hire and quick to fire. So our hiring process, I want to break down what a hiring process is, because people ask us all the time. It's like, oh, you fire people off the street and you just bring them into the people's homes. And I want to say, no, stop commenting on ads thinking you know everything about how we do things. So I'm going to break it down. And
the ad person ain't listening to this, by the way. But
the ad person, I'm sure if you've seen one of our ads, you thought like, oh, we're bringing people off the street and sending them to people's homes. That's not how we run our cleaning business. So for example, we have a very structured job ad that we send to, that we post online, right? When people see that job ad, it's going, let's say 100 people see that job ad. Most people are not going to apply to the job because number one, they're not going to read. And number two, they're not going to meet the basic qualifications. Let's say out of those 100 people, 50 people actually apply. Let's say, you know what? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's say all 100 people apply to the job that they see. Out of those 100 people, there is a job ad, then there's a qualifier. So they'll see a link and then they go to the qualifier on our webpage. On that qualifier, ask some specific things about insurance. Are you background checked? Do you have are you willing to get insurance if you don't have it? How long you been cleaning? Who you been cleaning for? That application itself weeds out the other 50% of people. So out of the 100 people that applied, 50% of people are not making it through the application. Let's say 25 people make it through the application. Now there is a interview scheduler. So you have to go through and schedule your interview. And if you don't show up to that interview, it asks you the day before, are you still interested in this job? Are you going to show up? Respond to this. If you don't, your interview will be canceled. Out of those 25 people, we may get 10 people on the phone. So out of those 10 people, we may talk to 5, because even if they're qualified and they say they're going to show up, they probably won't be on that call. So out of those 5 people that we actually interviewed, then we do the background check, we do the insurance, we do the first test job, we do all of those things. And then out of those 5 people, you might have 1, if that. So our hiring process, and now it's at the point where we are not trying to get everyone in. We only want the most qualified people. Mm-hmm. So that's our hiring process in detail, so that we are making sure we are hiring slow and we are firing fast.
Going back to trying to serve everyone. We don't need everyone that's going to be working for us, because that has bit us in the you-know-what in the past.
What was an example of that? Was
there was one time somebody didn't have a bank account. Oh, what was the couple? I don't even remember.
So we had a couple that worked with us at one point.
We had a few couples before.
Well, one couple, we knew that they weren't a good fit, and I want to take a chance on them.
I forgot.
I'll be trying to serve people, guys. I think I am a servant at heart, and I think somebody called me a narcissist because I feel like I can save everyone. And I didn't realize that's a form of narcissism.
That's a good example.
And I was like, we could help them out. They're a black couple.
Not everybody can be helped.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Jhanilka was like, no, they are not a good fit. We should not do it. And she said, they're not a good fit because of this, and this. I was like, well, let's look past all of that. And long story short,
look past all the red flags. You sound like a woman.
We looked past all the red flags, and honestly, they were not a good fit for us. And we shouldn't have hired them. We shouldn't have kept them so long. But you live and you learn. And that's it. Listen to your wife. Moral of the story, guys.
That's the end of the story. But the bonus I did have about one more mistake that we've made in regards to starting our cleaning business was not putting money into marketing fast enough. And that, once again, I think goes back to being the first-time business owner and really trying to pinch pennies, if you will. That's a lot of times we start, this is our last dime, et cetera, et cetera. And in order to make money, you have to put money out there. Like, you have to pay to play. You know that type of saying, pay to play? Mm-hmm. So in order to get customers and get clients, you have to market yourself. Now, can you do word of mouth? Absolutely. Majority of you guys are not going to, though. A lot of people say, I don't want people in my business. I don't want the person at church. I don't want the person at home, at work. I don't want nobody to know I got this business. So y'all ain't telling nobody anyway. So can you make money from word of mouth? Go for it. You should. I would. If we were back in New York, we definitely would have done that.
One of our students, Stephanie, she did like 20 clients her first month in business because she told everybody at her job, everybody wherever she was at. So that's an example of word of mouth.
That's an example, but many people do not do that. They're not. But you have to put money into, we don't have nobody to tell.
That's true too.
So you have to put money into marketing to get people in to see you. Because even if you do word of mouth, at some point that's going to run out. You don't know that many people. Putting money into marketing allows strangers and other people that you would have never seen your business see your business and then book your services because you got all those reviews, remember? So then they will book your services, right? You got to put the money in. Now, I'm not saying you jump into $3,000 a month somewhere, but you got to put it in slowly, build it up. Sometimes you be like, oh, I'm losing money, but you're getting leads, right? You're not, a lot of times we feel like I put $300 in and I only got $400 in cleanness, so it really wasn't worth it. But you got 7 or 8 leads that you can remarket to and send those emails to and texts, so you are getting leads, and it may not feel like an automatic ROI or automatic win where you're getting money back, but you are, in some point. So I think it's important to note that's something that was, I think, hard for me as well, like putting more money into marketing, because it feels like, no, I want to hold on to it, and no, I'm not seeing it right away maybe. But that is important for you to get to even have a business. Like, how do people know you exist if you're not putting any marketing dollars out there? How do they know who you are? They're not going to just find you randomly. So that's important to make sure. That's number 6 costly mistake that many people would make, and we had made, is to put money into marketing.
Marketing is an investment, not an expense.
Yes.
And going back to what Jhanilka said, like Facebook ads, we were putting, I think the amount of money we put into Facebook ads was, I think we tried it for like a month or so. We were playing around with it. I think we put like $300-$400 into it, and we had 21 leads and nobody booked. And I'm like, these leads are not good. They're not ideal. But then our follow-ups, our nurture, our automation brought us to like an $800-$900
booking.
Yeah, like an $800-$900 booking on the back end of those leads. So you might say, today I put in $300, got nothing. But 30 days from today, one of those leads actually closed. Now, does that even become a recurring client? So now you put 300 in, you got that $800 booking, and then they book you again, 250. 250, 250, 250. So you turn that 300 into a couple $1,000 because that client actually closed long-term nurture sequence that you put in place using your automations. So don't think about marketing as an expense. Think about it as an investment in your business, because if nobody knows you, how are they going to support you?
Yes. Those are the mistakes that we made. We want to make sure that we share that. It's the top of the year. People are starting their businesses. You're getting your goals started, and use this information. I'm sure there's something you can take from it that you are not doing in your business right now. And this is just a way to kind of get you jump-started into your year to make sure you crush your business, crush those goals by not making these mistakes.
Have you guys made any of these mistakes in the past? Let us know in the comments, and also let us know how you overcame them. What's a mistake you're currently working through as well? Share it with us so that we could help you and guide you. And we encourage you to connect with us on social media, Instagram, YouTube. Follow us, and also subscribe to the page if you are here. Did you know most people watching our videos are not subscribed?
That's shade.
So just letting you guys know.
Is where you can subscribe. If you're listening to us, if you go onto YouTube, the Harchimony is where you can subscribe and find us at. And we have all of our podcasts there. So if you're listening, thank you for joining once again.
And drop us a 5-star review on the podcast platforms. And check out Cleaning Business University if you want to learn how to start and scale a remote cleaning business without cleaning any houses. Link will be in the show notes.
See you next time.
Peace.